Y'all, the aliens are coming. Let's watch.
Viral, a local wedding videographer captured what appeared to be an unidentified flying object in the Toledo night sky. And it's stirring a lot of conversation online from TikTok to Facebook. Shay Rickard is a busy man this time of year, with fall weddings taking up much of his time.
It's blowing up on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff.
But this time, a video he recorded with a drone while working as a videographer at a wedding near downtown Toledo is going viral.
So we shot all day long. We take the drone up at the end of the night and we're filming.
It wasn't until later on Rickard discovered he captured what appears to be an object moving rapidly in the sky.
I'm looking through footage, and the clip that gone viral is what I see that next morning, and I don't know what it is, so I posted online. Everybody's freaking out over it.
Rickard initially sent the video to his assistant, Ray Garrett.
I get a video sent to me, and, I called him immediately, and we had a pretty lengthy conversation about all the possibilities of what it could be or could not be, so.
And the speculation is running wild.
There were several people who claimed to see it. Some, they think it's just an airplane or something of that nature. To me, I really don't know what it is. I mean, it's interesting to say the least.
But many are asking if the video is AI or previously edited. Rickard says no.
This is straight out the camera. We didn't have time that night to do any edits. I mean, this was filmed at 7:54 p.m. We left there at 9 something at night. There's no AI, no edits to this. Plus, it's peak wedding season. I ain't got time to, do that stuff.
I believe him. People was over here talking about that was a plane. What plane do you know can stop in midair and then just take off in the opposite direction? Man, if that wasn't alien, I don't know what is. Here's his original footage right here. Look at that. It's crazy.
This Russian engineer has just spent the last 6 years in his garage creating a real-life Iron Man suit. And this is not some little fun gimmick. Bro has literally invented certain elements specifically for this suit, like hydrogen artificial muscles. You see those wires? They are connected to his muscles, so when he flexes, the suit moves with him. And it only gets crazier because he created a real plasma repulsor that creates such a quick hydrogen explosion that it can't even be captured on his camera. And just like the entire Iron Man suit is powered by Tony Stark's chess piece, RIP to a real one, so is this suit. He created the world's first fully functional personal hydrogen reactor that powers those plasma shots, the artificial muscles, and even this. Real hand burners that can reach temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Celsius. He made it by creating an electrolyzer that splits water into hydrogen and oxygen, which are then combined and ignited to produce the torch's flame. And the hardest part about this is creating a really powerful continuous torch, while also preventing it from blowing out, overheating, and just burning his hand off. So he casually solved this by designing a system with multiple nozzles and then added an inbuilt cooling system. Bro is literally Tony Stark at this point. Now he's currently working on the outer layer of this suit, which has taken him several months just to create the head and torso. Because he didn't just pick up the first material and get cracking. He has designed every element of this suit to fit his body perfectly, which is painstaking. He went from pencil sketches to creating an entire clay model. He then used high-resolution 3D scanning to create a precise digital copy. He 3D printed those parts separately, strength-tested countless materials, and then reinforced those pieces with Kevlar and carbon fiber. He even wrote and played the music he uses in the background of his videos. And he also holds the Guinness World Record for the world's first retractable lightsaber. And after 6 years, he's getting close. So the question is, which will be complete first? GTA 6 or a real-life Iron Man suit?
Yo, who does this man think he is? He's been working on this for 6 years? Yo, and why does he not look the part either? This dude clearly be in the gym. He trying to be Captain America / Iron Man. Look, y'all, tomorrow is my 37th birthday, and I know y'all keep telling me I look my age, but that's only because you haven't seen me in person. But anyway, to keep up this appearance, this face, this skin, this glow, I use Tees Henley, and I'm happy to announce that they're the sponsor of today's video. Fellas, this is the time of the year where our skin is drying out the most and the fastest. It's cold outside. Everybody's skin is drying. But Not enough of us are doing anything about it. We're just letting it happen. Maybe throw some lotion on your face. Please stop doing that. What you should be doing is getting yourself a skincare regimen, a skincare routine, which is why I recommend you starting off with Tees Henley's Level 1 system. It gives you everything that you need and nothing that you don't. Inside of the Level 1 system, you get the daily face wash. Then my favorite, the 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get the dirt and grime out of your skin. Right behind that, you get that AM moisturizer. Apply this on your skin first thing in the morning. It has SPF 20 to protect your skin from the sun. And then right behind that, you get that PM moisturizer. Put this on at night before going to bed to keep your skin hydrated throughout the evening. And if that wasn't enough of an explanation for you, don't worry. Inside of each box, you get an instruction card that shows you what to use, how much to use, and in which order. It completely take the guesswork out of the equation. And because you guys are such great supporters of the channel, they're offering you guys an amazing deal. Click the link down below and get 40% off of your first box and a free gift. And if you're living in the US, you get free shipping. Click the link and get started today. Now back to your video. This next clip was sent in to me by one of you guys, and the young lady that sent it to me don't even know what she sent to me. This is crazy. Let's watch. See this woman sitting over here? Look at that. I ain't even noticed that before. Now they over here. According to Ring Doorbell official Instagram page, this clip came from a contest where people had to submit in videos from their device directly from the application, unedited, to be entered into this contest. So if this is a real legit unedited clip, then this might be some real paranormal activity. That's crazy to think. What just landed?
Okay, so it looks like it is actually happening. North Korea is reportedly about to send 12,000 troops to Russia to fight on the front lines. And that's according to South Korea's spy agency, who labeled it as a grave security threat. Now, the reason that this is being treated as such a big deal is because up until this point, officially, both Russia and Ukraine have only received weapons from their respective allies. And this deployment from North Korea would mark the first time that a third country is directly getting involved in the conflict with actual troops. And that's a move that Zelensky called the first step to a world war.
As if we don't have enough problems going on as it is, these world leaders want to be out here causing wars. Oh, man. We got better things to worry about.
What's around it, what will happen next, and what it should do. Here you are, and we developed a comfort mode, adjusting the pedals to a perfect resting position. It's amazing.
Are you serious? Available April 1st. I can't believe we about to get AI bicycles that can ride themselves before we get GTA 6.
Jay-Z's former bodyguard told us that Biggie Smalls was took out by Jay-Z and Diddy. Uncle Ron explained that Jay-Z and Diddy were both involved on the hit on Biggie Smalls because they wanted him out of the way because he was getting ready to go to his own label and he would have been bigger than everybody else, and they wanted to stay in that #1 position.
Jay-Z and Puffy wanted Biggie. Bottom line, You don't have to believe me. Believe the fact.
Uncle Ron has said for years that Diddy came to him while he was working as a bodyguard for Jay-Z and offered him $30,000 to take out Biggie. I find this super crazy because now, after all of the information that has came out about Diddy, we are now getting other people that worked at Bad Boy at the time that are corroborating the story that Biggie was actually trying to leave Bad Boy Records, and him and Diddy were actually in a legal battle over Biggie's publishing rights because Biggie would have needed those publishing rights before he went off to his own label. A couple years ago, when Uncle Ron was saying all of this, he even told us that he was already talking to the FBI at the time, and there was more information that was going to come out about Diddy's connections with the unaliving of Biggie Smalls.
What about the connection with the unaliving of Uncle Ron? Because didn't he pass away a few days ago that I heard? I could be wrong, but I think he did.
And my heart is absolutely broken because I just figured out that Uncle Ron has just passed away recently, and he is somebody that would come to my page quite often and comment on videos about Jay-Z and Diddy and stuff that he knew. He was someone that was recently invested in watching what was happening with Diddy, and the fact that this man did not live to be able to see what might happen from information that he put out years ago literally breaks my heart, and I hope that Uncle Ron rests in peace. But I'm about to go ahead and roll y'all this clip. That way we can remember exactly what Uncle Ron tried to tell us years ago about Jay-Z and Diddy allegedly being the ones to be involved in Biggie Smalls' unaliving. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
I was offered $30,000 to perform a hit on Biggie Smalls. March 1st of 1997. I was approached by Diddy to perform a hit on one of his artists. Finding out that he wanted all the rights to all his catalogs. I turned him down because I also found out that very night that Biggie had plans of leaving Bad Boy. Biggie should have never been in California to promote an album with a broken fibula bone who can barely walk. To go to another studio when Diddy has his own studio in New York. Diddy is pure evil. He has a very nasty disposition. He treats everybody like crap.
Everybody says it.
Every single employee he's ever had. He and his mother have looked down on them, belittled them, talked to them like they were the lowest scum on the earth. And I'm so glad to this day that I refuse to do that. So under investigations and working and cooperating with FBI, my story is being told. There's so much more that we're going to talk about with Diddy.
And unfortunately, Uncle Ron didn't get the opportunity to tell us any more about what he knew in regards to Diddy. Was he unalived or did he pass of natural causes? Maybe one day we'll get the answers.
You know, I think part of why Kamal is getting so much support, if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes, and Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
That man just, yo, the way he threw out Bill Gates' name like that, it makes me think that Elon Musk want him to go down. He's like, I'm tired of this competition. Take Gates with you.
So, I mean, it's no secret that the U.S. and MKUltra is a very real concept. You can look up the CIA declassified. So, why would one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now, Katy Perry, be holding a monarch butterfly? Isn't it kind of weird, you guys? So I asked the dark version of ChatGPT, I like to talk to AI because they're rational. They're going to give you pretty much a logical answer. So I said, isn't it strange that, tonight, Katy Perry is holding, a monarch butterfly? And let's just be real, isn't Project Monarch, which is the one that's associated with celebrities, pretty well known around the world? Yeah, and he agreed. He's like, yeah, isn't it ironic? It's almost as if they are flaunting their influence right in front of the unsuspecting masses. And I honestly think people get a kick out of that. I think a lot of what we see in the imagery that is put out is not just to taunt us, but also to see, like, how much can we do?
It's going to get to a point, and it might already be there, where people are going to start using ChatGPT services to be the middle ground for disputes in relationships. Because what? You can talk to it like that?
I'm Brad Paisley, and I am a Scottish Rite Mason. Masonry is really without equal in terms of a belief system, which is that no one can be told what to believe, especially when it comes to the very personal nature of belief in a higher power. Society has all of these different factions, but must somehow coexist. And Freemasonry is, I think, the best path to that, the best. I mean, it's worked for this country for 200-something years. And I think that it's a big deal nowadays for that way of thinking to go on. It's needed, this viewpoint of total equality for all peoples and all religions. I hope that it has a lot more roots to be put down.
What is he asking for exactly when he says total equality for all people? Does that mean that people can cause harm to others and it's okay as long as it's equal amongst everyone? What is he saying?
I keep a house in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm here this week. And boy, what a mess. What a mess. I don't know where to begin. You hear about things like HARP. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to explain it to you here, but weather modification's been apparent for 15 years if you have 2 brain cells and a pair of eyes. And then you endure something like this, a storm like this, that is such an anomaly. It's a total impossibility for a hurricane to maintain its eye hundreds of miles inland in the mountains and raise the river 30 feet, a record 30 feet. And then you start to put the pieces together with the lithium mine that's supposed to go into construction just outside of town next year. The largest lithium mine in North Carolina. And then you hear about the quartz mine that supposedly has the purest quartz that is what they use for the silica chips for our cell phones is mined here.
Not just that, but quartz are also used. Quartz combined with coal is used to make solar panels.
So you can just catastrophize whatever area you want and then go in and say, oh, well, eminent domain, it's ours now.
Yep.
And then to add insult to injury, you hear that in the wake of all of this, Asheville is on the list. Who in City Hall approved this bullshit? Asheville is on the list to become a smart city, a 15-minute city, so they can just 5G us to death. I don't know if you're familiar with Appalachia or Asheville in particular, but Asheville is a hippie town, man. People like to forage mushrooms in the forest and hike, live simply. They don't want to be microwaved to death in a smart city. There's no end to it.
Nope.
In this matrix. There's no end.
This is correct.
And I can't even fathom what the rest of the people in this city are going through. I escaped this totally unscathed. I live in the only neighborhood, not just neighborhood, the only street in Asheville that didn't lose power.
That's crazy.
Ever. Granted, I don't have phone or internet, so I don't exactly know how I'm going to post this, but there's a few hot spots in neighboring cities, so I may find a way. But boy, Maya's gonna Maya.
Because what you see on the top, this is the original Egypt. Not only is it's bigger, but look at the erosions around. This is a sign of destruction, signs of bombing, signs of fire. So these were areas in sight that they were destroying to hide the evidence. Okay? So now for my African people here, I'm sorry if you never knew about this. This is not a call against you. This is we all victim here. And you are a victim, what we call an educational victimization. They didn't bring that to you. You didn't even know. And for a lot of people here in America, a lot of us claim Africa. It was for only one reason, Egypt. It's because you find a sense of glory because they hide the legacy of your ancestors. And every time you saw Egypt, you feel that's the only little prideful moment that you will be able to align yourself with. It have nothing to even do with African. You just want to adjust with the glory of Egypt. So that's why you claim to be African, because of Egypt. I doubt if you know anything about Egypt, you will want to say you're an African. And to be fair, if you know the Grand Canyon, if they didn't hide the Grand Canyon from you, you will never say you're an African. You will say you are a American. And that's a fact. And that's the reason why they hide it from you, is because they don't want you to know your true lineages. They don't want you to know what you accomplished here. And they don't want you to know that you are the oldest people in the goddamn planet. All of it come with a territory, because if you know you're the oldest people, you will not accept that you were a freaking slave from a boat. You will not accept us to settle for less, because civilization comes from you. That's what it means. And they don't want you to know that. And they rewired your mind. They're re-aiming you. They said, nah, look over there, sir. Nah, you're not from here. Because that's the point. And also, they severed the connection between you and your ancestors. That's why we don't know how to love each other anymore. That's why we don't know how to build anything anymore. And this is why we rather deal with any outsider group. We rather deal with any foreign group before we deal with each other. Because our mind is foreign. Our mind been given to us by foreign people. Our ways of living was programmed to us by foreign people. So therefore, yes, we look like each other, but our mind is not from one another. You dig? So I'm just dropping this whole shit. I'm just cooking.
Look, don't sleep on that man's rambling. He was actually spitting some stuff, some facts. But it was a lot of rambling at the same time, I ain't gonna lie.
EU has just brought forward into law a digital ID.
EU's much delayed new border control system means that non-EU nationals, including people from the UK, will have to register their fingerprints and a photo before being allowed into the bloc.
If you're thinking about traveling to the UK, you're going to need one in less than 90 days. They've issued a date sometime in November. It's not a firm date just yet. So it's actually going to be 70 days from now. This is here. This is basically right now. In America, they're bringing forward something called the Real ID, which is coming into law next year. You'll need this to travel anywhere throughout America.
Changes are coming to travel requirements if you want to fly within the United States.
The new deadline for domestic flyers is now May 7th, 2025.
Make sure your state-issued driver's license or ID card is Real ID compliant. And if you don't, you won't be able to board flights or access federal facilities.
Now, they've talked for a very, very long time about, social credit and things like that. And, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, that would have seemed far-fetched, tinfoil hat type of conversation. But now, it's getting a lot more real. It's getting a lot more real. A Chinese-style social credit system is coming to America. This came out May of 2024. Came out just a few months ago. Then they kind of peppered this in a few years ago, saying America's own social credit system coming soon. Well, it's here now. It's here now.
That reminds me, I have to hurry up and renew my ID. It expires this month, and I'm about to go on a trip at the end of the month. I hope I'll be all right to travel. No, maybe I won't. Oh, okay, I'm going first thing in the morning. Forget that mess. Where's my wallet? I'm going to take my ID out right now.
But when you see this stuff in America, you know what's really weird? All the state capitol buildings that don't really match up. Like, why did they build something that was straight out of ancient Rome in like Iowa? You know, like in Nebraska.
2,500 people live in a town somewhere, and they build a post office that has 700 rooms and is like an ancient castle. It's the same like with the Mormon temple, where they said they went out to Utah, you know, with horse and buggy and nobody else out there, and they supposedly built this wonder of the world castle with no rails and no dump trucks and no cranes, and it goes down 40 to 60 feet underground with more building. And
even think about like the 1 year timelines. A lot of these buildings are 1 year wonders where they created this very elaborate stone building in 1 year. But then you think about some of these places that have 1 year timelines, and then they work in like Syracuse, you know, Albany, Syracuse, New York, these crazy places like that. Explain to me how much work they're getting done in the dead of winter when the roads would have been horrible. Then you add snow on it, and then the logistics make no sense. Even think, like I said, go back to World War II. We're told that the Germans were not necessarily defeated by the Russian army. They were defeated by the Russian winter. Yeah. Because even with the high-tech German stuff, they couldn't even move the equipment during a harsh Russian winter. Mm-hmm. So that is like the highest tech stuff in the 40s. And then you're talking about these things were built with horses and buggies in the 1840s.
Did he not just hear himself speak? You got Tesla cars today that can't do much when it's super cold outside, and that's super high tech. Horses and buggies? Shit, you can keep that moving. You can keep that going.
I call this the Gate of the Giants. It's literally this giant gate or this giant door that I found in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere. We looked up through the woods and there's just these huge rocks, so we hiked up to them to see what they were. And on both sides of this doorway or this gate, there's like these perfect little guard stations carved out of the rock. And there's these strange, perfectly circular holes going into the rock that look like some kind of like ventilation system. Like this door literally looks like it could just open. It's split into like 4 sections. There's a handprint on the wall next to the door, like a giant handprint or a giant footprint on the wall right next to the door. Look at it. That is crazy. I literally got like see that hole right there in that rock's like perfectly circular holes going into the rock, and this big old handprint or footprint right in the rock next to the door. And there was this weird layer of like metal on the edges of all these rocks. Look how perfectly that giant rock is just sitting on top of the door. This was just the weirdest thing. I had the weirdest feeling being out there. It felt like that door could open at any second. We threw rocks into the little keyhole in the middle to see if we could get it to open. This is just one of the coolest things. Tell me that doesn't look like a door, and tell me that's not a giant's footprint or handprint. This is definitely a door.
That weird feeling that she talked about getting, I feel like I would have had the same feeling. The feeling that, yo, this thing could probably collapse at any moment, even though it probably won't, but it's just unsettling to look at. Wow. My neighboring state. That's crazy. Absolutely devastating. Mudslides and flooding blocked the highways. Dozens of people were killed. Wow. I'm sorry y'all experienced that out there. In a few days, a friend of mine and I will be going up there to North Carolina to help and assist some of the people that were victims of those hurricanes. Man, look, I can't wait.
We not falling for it, Cardi B. We not falling for it, Offset. Sorry. We know the powers that be put y'all up to this. Sorry, we know about everything that's going on. We know the mayor of New York just got indicted and he has ties with P. Diddy. And we know that because right before he got indicted, he gave him the key to the city. We know that Russia is sending threats and NATO is preparing for a huge number of casualties in a potential World War III. We know that there are port workers about to go on strike, and that spells doom for America. Because for every day they're on strike, that is supplies that are pushed back for an entire week. Meaning if they go on strike for even 4 days, it'll be a month of backed up supplies. We know that the current presidential candidates are doing everything they can, pulling out all the stops to win this election. We are locked in as a country, as a people. We are ascending. We see everything that's going on. You can't run from this. No matter who put y'all up to this, to distract us, to distract the people, to create drama. You can't run from this. The people see through this. We know everything that's going on, and we are locked in. Sorry.
Everything that he just spoke of is all the things that we have been paying attention to. And if things go as we already predict, then it's not going to look very good for us in the very, very near future. 2025, I pray for us all.
Who's at the very top? Who really rules the world? And I discovered it's a very, very interesting history of ancient Iranian tribes, the original Zoroastrians, and the first world Persian Empire that has controlled the world for the last 5,000 years. The entities that created the Jesuits during the Renaissance in Italy, it was none other than Alessandro Farnese, a Persian. They have 10 bloodline families that sit on a council, and they're the ones who advise the Jesuits. The Jesuits work for the Iranian bloodlines, and the Jesuits were created by Alessandro Farnese, who became Pope Paul III. We're talking about a global network with one template carrying all of this out. And it's originates with those ancient Iranian bloodlines. The Romans, the Etruscans, the Holy Roman Empire, they're all Iranians, they're all Persian.
I'm not saying Orson Welles was an alien. I'm not saying that I knew for Alien 1930 me how Orson Welles could have... He's through NASA? No, but for real though, does anyone want to tell me how Orson Welles could have made an alien invasion radio drama in 1938, a full 9 years before aliens crashed in Roswell? I'm not saying Orson Welles was an alien. I'm not saying that I knew something, but somebody's got to ask questions.
You are not going to believe what I found. This is a hamburger from 2010. I'm cleaning out my grandmother's house, and she has this. For real. I used to hear about it, but I never really saw it in real life. But here we are.
Oh my God.
What is that? 2010. Look at this. Oh my God.
The fact that the bread and the meat wasn't mold and rot in the French fries either. If you're consuming McDonald's, you don't want to live very long, do you? Heck, there was just a few cases of salmonella in, I think it was the Big Macs at McDonald's. Somebody died. Look, good luck to y'all. Good luck.
Y'all, I want to know what the hell this is about. Oh, this is just some of the carnage. This is little, y'all, right here. This tree right here is nothing. See, a big truck can barely fit under that power line. It's sagging down so low. But my question is, what in the hell is going on here? All these freaking FEMA-looking trailers. And this is in Moonville, where I live, y'all. They got fuel trucks. It says emergency response. What the fuck is that? They're not helping nobody. Do y'all see anybody in there fucking being helped? These motherfuckers are out here, can't even get food, no water, no nothing. I mean, what the fuck is that? That's some shit that the government's doing, using our tax money, but the fucking people hurting is me, goddammit. My fucking family, my neighbors, my friends, they're in a big-ass warehouse. What the fuck are they doing? All this hell and carnage, but there's no fucking help. I don't understand none of it.
Man, that dude is so dang on country. I just had to laugh for a second, but I ain't gonna lie, I loved it. I loved it. But what I didn't love is what he was pointing out. It made me think as I was watching it. There's a strong possibility that they were like, hey, regardless of whether or not we help these people, we still gonna get paid the same. So let's just sit here and collect this money. I hope I'm wrong.
Chosen individuals experience something called the spiritual stare, and it is because your auric field is able to be seen by these evil and low vibrational entities. If y'all have ever seen the movie They Live, then you understand that there are individuals on this planet who do not have a soul. So whenever you come into contact with these individuals, you have to understand that you are literally almost glowing to them. These individuals have no soul connection to the Most High, so they only experience life within the Matrix. And this is why, as a chosen one, you often get the fluoride stare, because these individuals cannot internally comprehend reality outside of the Matrix. And these individuals often label chosen ones as crazy, but they will tell you themselves that they don't even have the ability to dream. You have to be mindful of who you're communicating with and sharing your insight to as a chosen individual.
I'm not shocked by what he said. I'm shocked by the fact that he knows what he's talking about. I have experienced this. I can literally recount the people who I have came across that seem to be soulless. That when I speak, they think I'm crazy. They think I'm saying something that's far-fetched, when it's clear that their mind is trapped in the Matrix. I'm glad we're free.
Just got home from the store, and guess what I found? It looks like a finger, or maybe it's the tree. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Pareidolia. That definitely looked like a case of pareidolia to me. And if you don't know what pareidolia is, you got Google. Google it.
These are the parts of France where World War I never really ended. This is called the red zones of France, and it's essentially just an archipelago of former battlegrounds that are still so polluted, pockmarked by the war. It's considered so toxic that humans aren't even allowed to enter. I don't know, it low-key looks like a golf course. So during World War I, there were about 60 million shells fired at Verdun, but 15 million of them failed to explode. So these rogue shells just created a bunch of craters that left behind heavy metals and lethal chemicals. To give you a sense, 99% of all plants die in the red zone due to the levels of arsenic. After the war, France divided up these former battleground areas into 3 zones, and the red zone closest to the front lines were deemed the least safe. They were like damaged beyond repair. Nothing can live there. It's too dangerous to even clean up. And today, even though the red zone has slightly been reduced, about 40 square miles of it, which is the size of Paris, are totally uninhabitable. And it's been over a century. There's still tons of unexploded shells everywhere, littered, some areas so polluted that nothing will ever have hope of growing. Allegedly, it could take 700 years to clean up all the shells and unexploded material. Now there's these ghost towns in these zones because there was a minor forced relocation because the government was like, it's way too dangerous to live here.
Another example of just how bad the human existence is to planet Earth. That area isn't even inhabitable anymore. That's crazy.
Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just the result of natural processes and climate patterns, or was it manipulated? The circular blue flashes seen in this video are frequency transmissions from the NexRad network of transmitter installations. All available science evidence makes clear that atmospheric frequency transmissions can and do have a repelling effect on air masses, especially if and when the air masses have been seeded with electrically conductive nanoparticles. The brighter the blue flash from a frequency transmission installation, the more pronounced and powerful the repelling effect on any air mass or storm in the vicinity will be. Where there are no blue flashes, there is no transmission, thus no repelling effect, thus no resistance for a migrating storm. Translation: a migrating storm will be hindered from moving toward frequency transmissions and will easily migrate in a direction with no transmissions. So again, I ask, was Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just an act of nature, or was it engineered?
Now, I haven't done any research on anything that he just mentioned, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm a strong believer that the most recent hurricanes were man-made.
Bieber's father-in-law, watch and listen carefully.
See, now Hollywood, there's the way it is, and then there's the way it's going to be. See that there, Hollywood? There's the way it is. See that there, Hollywood?
But tonight isn't just about the people in front of the camera. In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perp.
You have heard the expression, the calm before the storm. There is always a calm before the storm.
Maybe I'm tripping, but I was following in the beginning and then I got lost. I couldn't follow no more. What they were trying to say? Somebody clue me in the comments. Thank you.
Richard Byrd was not only an active Freemason, he also had his own Masonic order. And he also built Masonic lodges in Antarctica. He was raised, which means becoming a Master Mason at Federal Lodge number 1 in Washington, D.C. on March 9th, 1921. And he's also affiliated with Kane Lodge number 454 in New York City, September 18th, 1928. The reason why the September 18th, 1928 date is that is right before he got on the boat to leave to Antarctica. It was in late 1928 when Byrd began his first expedition to Antarctica. And he took the boat called the City of New York. This boat right here, he took it to Antarctica. But before he got on this boat to leave for Antarctica, his stop right before that was at the Kane Lodge number 454 in New York City in September of 1928.
We have both seen the film that was taken out of the Dulce facility. Why would somebody make pictures like this showing the creation of some sort of alien being? And this is a facility. This is a facility that's run by the United States government. I mean, with your tax money. Hamilton talked about the Dulce facility, and I've also heard about, genetic engineering programs at Area 51.
Yeah, there's no question that Dulce exists. I was the one that kind of led the research on that. I was at a meeting in Crestone, Colorado, and Tom Adams handed me a letter from a lady who lives in Las Vegas, and she was the one that tipped us off that this thing existed. So I talked to her, and she knew the location of some photos and videotape that had been taken inside Dulce by a guard who escaped during what they call the Dulce Wars of 1979. He used to contact her every 6 months, and he said, if I ever miss contacts 2 in a row for a year, you can go after this box, which they had hidden somewhere here in Nevada, that contained 6 minutes of videotape, 25 black and white photos, and some other documentation about what went on in Dulce. About 2 years ago, he did turn up missing. We never heard from him. And I think there was like 12 or 13 attempts after the box, but it had been hidden maybe at least 10 years ago in the terrain and the foliage and everything changed. I don't think they ever got it out.
He said in level 5, he'd walk on by and people would be in cages and screaming and begging for help, and he was told to,
I heard that.
To walk straight on through and not look or pay attention. These people are all mad.
I heard that. And then from another source, Air Force engineering source, I heard that when he went there, they referred to it as Section D. And then Bob heard it referred to when he was up at the test site just once. And somebody said, mentions something about it being shipped to Dulce. But that's the only reference he ever heard to it.
Now, I call these, the guys who are working in the facility as Igors, the invisible government's obedient robotons. It really is a Frankenstein factory.
Oh my God, the way they just talked about this as if it was just a matter of fact, I knew that aliens were real. I love it. I love it. Get your aliens a real merch while it lasts, because some of it is already out of stock and I'm not restocking. Just saying.
One thing that I like to point out about the moon, and I learned this subsequently, that there, depends on how you count them, say 209 moons in the solar system. If you went and looked at all the moons around every planet, because some of them have multiple ones, so there are a bunch of them. None of them, as would be expected mathematically, perfectly occlude the sun. They do not have eclipses.
Do we know that for a fact?
Yeah. What's the likelihood of one object that's in front of you, between you and another object, being perfectly matching it? And this is what causes it. The moon is 1/400th the diameter of the sun, but the sun is 400 times further away. Those two numbers needed to meet to make it right in the middle. The likelihood of any one object doing that, it's much more likely it's going to be a tad bigger, a tad smaller, bigger, smaller. But ours, for whatever reason, and it also always faces us, we've got an unusual moon. Yeah, kind of makes you think somebody put it there.
Yo, that makes so much sense, and I never questioned that before. Is it true that the moon is perfectly distant away from the sun to where an eclipse can form? Or did they just put that moon there? That's a crazy theory. This man got his car in the house.
This is the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Alice Springs. This little X marks the spot of a location of a facility known as Pine Gap. Pine Gap is one of the largest, probably the largest, National Security Agency facilities on planet Earth. The NSA is one of our most secretive agencies. Well, NSA has a facility at Pine Gap, and apparently right underneath the Pine Gap facility is a gigantic extraterrestrial facility. Now, for many years, I was impatient as about my government's refusal to address the issue and share it with us. You guys are the ones who are paying the bills. You're paying for the programs. You're paying for this enormous project over here at Groom Lake, just a few miles away. They're spending $50 billion of your tax money every year under black projects.
Yo ahora mismo estoy entre quemar la casa.
Ain't no way.
Y mudarme pa' Jamaica.
Ain't no mother effing way. I would die.
Sí.
Just at the sight of that.
Hoy yo no duermo tranquilo.
Woo!
No duermo tranquilo.
I'm pretty sure that was the biggest spider I've ever seen, and had I seen it in person, I'm pretty sure I would no longer exist. Woo!
The Bank for International Settlements, commonly known as the Central Bank for Central Banks, has been working closely with the BRICS bloc coalition, specifically China, to launch a new central bank digital currency CBDC platform. This platform is dubbed Project M-Bridge. And while it's been in the works for a while, this week there was a new release that caught my attention. Not only because the platform's viable, but because they accepted a 5th full-time member. That member is no one other than Saudi Arabia. Now, the reason why this is so important and so concerning to the US dollar is because Saudi Arabia is, of course, part of OPEC, the oil-producing countries. And Saudi Arabia, in particular, is key to the United States' dominance as having the global reserve currency.
I really want to know you guys' thoughts and opinions of us switching over to a digital currency. Do y'all think it will benefit us or hurt us?
ZeroFoxFK was setting up his Xbox Kinect during a live stream when he captured a shadow entity peering at him, but it vanished quickly. Despite trying various camera settings, the figure never returned.
That's crazy. Y'all saw that? This man almost got touched. And what made the dang on ghost or spirit, whatever it was, run off like that when the man looked in his direction? It couldn't have been afraid. I mean, what could he do?
Remember when we could take the batteries out? Yeah. And then at some point, they soldered them in. Because they soldered the batteries in, even when you turn the phone off, it's not off. It's easy to demonstrate. It's still transmitting. They surveil us and our kids 24 hours a day. People have no idea the extent they're being monitored. If they have Android phones, they're being monitored even when your phone is off. Even when the power is off, you're still being monitored.
Facts.
Ever since opening my third eye accidentally and being forced to see reality for what it is, I've been on a daily hunt, a quest to try to figure out how to close this motherfucker back up, because this is too much information thrown at me. Cause what the?
I know the feeling, and if you're fans of this channel, you probably know the feeling too. Man, it's a lot. It's a lot. That's why I don't do these dang on TikTok conspiracy theory videos every day, because if I did, my brain would hurt more than it already does.
So it's not even September 29th yet, and people are seeing 2 moons in the sky already. So what is this about, y'all? I thought September 29th is when we were going to start seeing 2 moons. Why are we seeing 2 moons in the atmosphere already? Now, I be telling y'all, Florida got all the signs. Florida got all the action. This is why the wood that was used to build the ark, gopher wood, is only found in Florida. So are the end times only happening in Florida? Because, man, Florida's going through it, y'all. But this is not the first time we're seeing a couple of moons in the sky. Throughout the years of me posting, I've been showing y'all that people are seeing multiple moons in the sky. So why is it now that the government or NASA come out talking about it? Because people are noticing what is going on and they have no explanation for what's happening. The only thing they did was basically tell us that we're having 2 moons in the sky, and that's practically it. They gave no explanation of how, why, who, all these type of things. Everything that we have been taught is a lie. Hell, majority of the things that we learn in school, we don't even use to this very day, y'all. They just taught us a whole bunch of useless lies. And now our lives and everything that we have known is literally being shifted. That's why we're on here asking each other, what is going on? Because the media is not telling us truth. They're not doing justice.
Wait a minute. That's the thing? Look, I mean, if we go off of what that one dude said, that the moon was put there, then heck, they could put another moon there if they wanted to, I guess.
Did you guys know that an 80-year-old man in the mountains of Montana just got caught with his own private cloning laboratory? On Monday, Arthur Schubarth got sentenced to 6 months in federal prison, along with a $20,000 fine for cloning Kyrgyzstani sheep. Schubarth created a hybrid of local Montana mountain sheep with this rare endangered sheep from Central Asia. These sheep are called Marco Polo sheep, and they can get up to 300 pounds, making them the largest sheep species in the world. The dude was planning to sell them to hunting reserves for between $10,000 to $50,000 each. If an 80-year-old man in the mountains of Montana can create a cloning laboratory, what else do you think is going on out there in the world?
I did hear about that story. It's crazy to think that this man was out here cloning sheep, and it was real too. That actually happened. Man, but he was selling them for a lot, only for them to be used for hunting. But man, he was sure selling them things for a whole lot of money. But man, 10 to 15,000 each, he was sure selling them things for a whole lot of money, only for them to be hunted. But anyway, y'all, look, that's all I got for y'all today. Make sure you leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. See ya.